Now, how did you pitch the idea of Razor Ramon to Vince, or did he pitch it to you? How was that born?
Well, I mimicked Razor, and even prior to that, the Diamond Stud. When I rarely spoke to him, but when I did, I would say, I'm the bad guy or something. I was a huge, Scarface mark. I'm a huge fan of that movie and Al Pacino's character as Tony Montana.
Yeah.
So I was mimicking that. And at that time, the character in the movie was a guy who was real hungry and willing to do just about anything to be successful in what he wanted and to get things that he wanted for the people he cared about. And at that time in my life, that was a shoot for me too, man. I had bounced around 4 or 5 years in the wrestling business internationally, not much success in the U.S., successful in like Puerto Rico, Europe, and Japan, not much in the U.S. where it really mattered, and was about to give up when, I ended up coming back from Europe with, I was married to Cody's mother then, and Cody was on the way. He was in her belly about 6 months along, and I needed a job. I was considering just giving up wrestling and, working at Sears or something, maybe learn how to work a forklift, have a name tag on my shirt.
Wow.
I didn't care. I'd get me a little duplex and have some kids and have the other riches in life. And again, like I said earlier, when I quit worrying about everything, it started happening.
Right.
Excuse me. I resigned myself to the fact that wrestling wasn't going to be my deal. I was going to go ahead and try to have a family and do that. I had one more commitment to make in Europe, and I went. And when I came back, here comes Cody on the way, and I need a job. I called Dallas and I pitched the Diamond Stud to him. That worked. I appeared on WCW TV one time. Now, Steve, I've been calling Vince's office every week for a year.
Are you kidding me?
Asking to speak to Pat, because Henrik told me to do it, so I do it. I call, and believe me, I feel like a jabron, and I was a jabron. And they call, can I speak to Pat? He's busy. Can I leave take a message? I tell him Scott Hall called. So I do it every time for a year. Now I appear on the WCW TV one time with this new look with the black hair and the stubble and the toothpick. And I get home. I have to drive from Atlanta back to Orlando. They don't even fly me. It's how valuable I am to the company. I drive back. It's 8 hours. I get home. There's 2 messages on my machine for Pat Patterson. So I call Pat. Immediately I get put through this time. Wow, like a big shot. And hey, kid, this is that. Hey, Vince loves the new look. Well, tell me, you just signed a contract with those SOBs. And I said, Pat, I just got done signing one. I said, I don't want to work for them. I said, I wouldn't have called your office every week for a year if I did.
Right.
And he went, and he started laughing. I love that. He started laughing. He goes, calm down, kid, calm down. Don't worry. In a year, you'll be able to tell him New York wants you. So a year later, I went up to New York. And again, I still had to try out. I had a successful tryout match, Lexington, Kentucky. First match of the, extended hours-long TV taping. I went out there and they gave me a job guy to beat. Because a lot of times when they brought guys in who had been in the business a little while at that time, Vince would check your attitude by taking a guy who'd been around and then having you do a job.
Right.
Just to see where your head's at.
Yeah.
When they give you that big push, they want to know you'll do business. And I had the match, and Vince, at that time was really into the realism angle, like, Big Boss Man was really a corrections officer. So he goes, well, I understand your father's in the service. I said, Vince, man, you want me to be G.I. Joe? I'll be the best G.I. Joe I could be. I said, you ever see Scarface? He went, oh, no. And then, I pitched the Razor gimmick to him, the Razor name, and, he went with it, and the rest is history.
Well, tell me the story about how you pitched it, because you went into you already had the character down, right? You told him what he needed and what he didn't.
I've been doing it. I never,
Well, break it down for me. How'd that go?
I've been doing it in the locker room.
So you say, hey, man, give me the impression. Give me the Razor.
Oh, well, now I had the luxury of walking in there with Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig, who was like my mentor in this industry and who I knew from the AWA days. And Kurt was one of those guys who always cared about doing what was right for the business. He babied me. He carried me. We were tag champions in Minneapolis. Yeah. Kurt did everything. All I did was make to come back and beat the guy. And to the point where it made Kurt look weak to some of the fans, where unknowledgeable fans would say, Scott, you should dump Hennig. He's holding you down. I'm going, hold me down, man. He's keeping me from drowning. I'm circling the toilet, man. This cat's the only one teaching me anything about what's really going on.
Yeah.
And so I go in to meet with Vince, And I go prepared because I've been around, I got a new look, but I'm still been in the business 5 years at this point. And I go in there prepared, but, Kurt has schooled me to be humble.
Yep.
So I go in there and thanks for the opportunity, Mr. McMahon, and this and that, and I'll be ready. I'll be G.I. Joe if you want. I said, you ever see Scarface? He went, no. And I said, say hello to the bad guy. So I just started doing the stick, and he goes, well, he laughed. He goes, well, we need a name. I said, and I've been thinking about it, like Shrug Shadow. It's a different era. You had to have like a gimmicky, marketable name.
Yeah. Bigger than life.
Yeah, I was thinking Shrug Shadow. I remember Road Warrior Hawk gave me Deadbolt. But I was leaning towards Razor, so I pitched Razor, and Vince went, well, there's already Razor running, like the boxer. I said, I kicked his monkey effing, it's just a line right out of Scarface. And boom, and he started laughing. He goes, we need a last name. So I leave, we leave there on a positive note, and I'm out there, they erased my name off the board. I was just going to have matches on, like, their USA primetime show, just like jabroni matches to fill time.
Yeah.
They took me off the board. I'm going to get a push. I'm in the bathroom. I'm so happy. I'm washing my hands. Tito's like brushing his hair. Tito stands down. I said, Tito, I need a last name starts with an R. He went, Ramon. I went back to Vince's office, knocked on the door. I said, Razor Ramon. He went, that's it. and he left. Steve, I was so flattered. We were doing it. I used to just tag along to TVs because Vince just wanted me seeing how things worked, and I wasn't debuting yet.
Right.
And we were in Ottawa, Canada, at a TV, and Vince went, let's go. And we flew to South Beach with the Outlaw film crew and shot 4 or 5 vignettes the same day. And I had brought wardrobe changes just in case.
Right.
Vince okayed it. So it looked like it was different weeks. We shot about 5 of them in one day. Now, this is the funny part. You know how Vince is. He doesn't care. We're out there shooting. We're shooting. We don't have permits or anything. We're just outlaw, like, commando style, setting up stuff, shooting, and then moving on. It starts to rain. You know how that tropical weather, it just starts to rain sideways. So we just break it. He's on the phone. His tickets wait for us. We go into Miami International Airport. Now, I've got a vest on with gold chains, no shirt, slicked back hair with the curly Q, silk pants, loafers. And in that airport, no one even looks twice. And I'm jacked. But I'm with Vince, and everybody knows who Vince is. So they figure I must be somebody, but they don't know who yet. And it was just an experience I'll never forget. I felt like I was in costume walking through the airport, and in that airport, no one even looked twice.
When you tell that story, it reminds me of a couple of vignettes we did, for me as I was stone cold and kind of laying the groundwork. But my point is about Vince. How much do you treasure those moments going back in the day when you think about those outlaw film crews going to get this footage, to get this character over? And sure, you're doing it to draw money, but Vince cares deeply, and he will go to the last corner of the world to help get a sumbitch over if he think he can. I mean, didn't you enjoy that about the guy? I mean, because that dude's got guts.
I'm a huge Vince guy. I'm a huge fan of Vince McMahon, and the way he's impacted our industry will never be matched.
No.
And I'll never forget, Steve, one thing I learned from Vince. I'm doing my very first vignette, and Vince is encouraging me to talk really slow.
Wow.
He wants me to pause, talk slowly. Yeah. He teaches me the difference between commanding people's attention and demanding it.
Right.
Like you can commanding, it's almost a babyface thing, and there's a positive connotation. Where demanding, it's like being a little bit of a Frisbee,
Right.
And that's where he wanted me to go with it. My very first time in Madison Square Garden, Steve, which is a really special building to me.
Oh yeah.
You know how it is, the Garden, man. I felt like I've made it now. I'm wrestling in Madison Square Garden. Not only that, I'm wrestling Randy Savage, and I'm going over. Are you kidding me? Somebody, don't wake me up until after the match. This is a sweet dream. And I go to the ring. I'm going out first, of course. It's with Mach. I'm going out first. And Vince, I was supposed to say a little something on a stick, and then they bring a Mach out. As I'm standing there, how there's a point in your ring music where you know to hit the curtain. Okay, now I go. So I'm waiting, and Vince is standing there with me, right behind the curtain in the Garden.
Yeah,
and he goes,
short entrance.
And he goes, the short entrance one. You know how it was.
Yeah.
He would stand back, and he'd step through to watch the match. So I'm there, and he goes, make them wait. So I went, cool, I'll go with that. So I started stretching. I bend down like I'm stretching my hamstrings, I'm touching my toes. Then he goes, okay. And like, go now. But now I'm thinking, no, I got you, bro. Make them wait. Okay. Because now I'm doing a stretch. So I stretch another 10 seconds just to go, I got this, man. I got this. Just that he taught me how to be like annoying.
Right, right.
You know, like to be a heel. Vince is a master heel, you know.
He's the ultimate heel.
Right.
Hey, go ahead.
I got huge respect for Vince and what he's done. People talk about Vince and they always go, well, is he really an a-hole? And I go, are you? Because I am. You know, I mean, like, to me, you got to take the good and the bad with people in any kind of a relationship. And I would certainly think the upside of any kind of a relationship I'm ever going to have with Vince McMahon far exceeds any downside, you know. I mean, I think Vince is a genius.
Well, I mean, the thing about Vince is that the guy is a man of his word. He won't ask you to do anything he won't do. He's fearless, and he just wants success, and he's willing to do whatever it takes to find success. And I think that's just the epitome of a successful businessman or athlete.
Well, now that, to me, Steve, I know that you spent a lot of time working with Vince right there on top. In fact, you did we were down there doing our thing here in Atlanta with that NWO. It was an angle that I think that you and Vince started, along with certainly the rest of the supporting cast. But that thing against you and Vince was like one of our number one obstacles, bro, on those Monday Night Wars. But yeah, Vince is. He will take the bump. You can hit him with the chair. The one thing about Vince that I noticed, I'm not sure I was that cool with, is the dude's a cyborg. He does not sleep.
No.
He still trains. He still eats. You know, he's eating his meals. He's going to train hard, but he doesn't sleep. So since he doesn't sleep, he figures you don't need to sleep either. Because you know Vince, brother. You know Vince, coming into a pay-per-view or something, he's not afraid to have you making appearances round the clock.
Right.
And still make the town that night. And you know you got to, for me, I want a tan. I got to hit the gym, you know, blah, blah, blah. I got to get my hair dyed, you know.
But there came a point where, they started taking it, quite frankly, they started taking advantage of the appearance thing. And they're booking guys like crazy. And everybody was almost really afraid to say no. Finally, guys started saying no. Then they started offering a few ducats for the appearances. But they kind of started almost.
Oh, yeah, I did a lot of free ones. I'm sure you did, bro. You get the memo, but at that time it would come from JJ.
Yeah.
Through like carbon copy and Russo. And it would say, you have been personally selected by Vince to represent the World Wrestling Entertainment at this function.
Almost like it's supposed to be your honor.
Grand opening of some Dunkin' Donuts or something.
Yeah, and you were supposed to be happy about it. Oh, they picked me. Oh, yeah, shit, this is going to be great.
And then be sure to get to the building early because you have a meet and greet, too.
Hey, before we talk about Madison Square Garden and getting ready to wrap up, I want to go right back to Curt Hennig because he said he took you into Vince's office when you dropped the bad guy idea. And when I first rolled into WWF back in the day, it was Curt Hennig who said, hey, kid, come here. I want to introduce you to somebody. He took me into the production truck. He introduced me to Kevin Dunn. He goes, this is a guy, you need a relationship right here. And me and KD hooked up and became friends from then on. But that was the kind of guy that Curt Hennig was, to take a cat under his wing. And like you said, he carried you for so many years and taught you in the ring and mentored you. But when I first rolled in, seemingly, I'm nobody, yes, but I am competition. And nonetheless, he just extended that olive branch of friendship and guidance and took me right to one of the guys who was one of my most important relationships in the company. And I think just that speaks to the kind of person that Curt Hennig, one of the greatest of all time, was.
Yeah, I agree, Steve. And one thing Curt taught me was always babyface the crew. Not just Kevin Dunn, who's like the main guy up there, but everybody, the camera guys, the dudes that have the lighting, everything. He taught me to use these guys as an asset, as a resource. So I would take the guy and go, hey, bro, is there any place special I could stand when I do my interview where you could shoot a better? And a lot of these guys will go, yeah, actually, if you move up about a foot and get this light here, or, you talk to the guys with the pyro and stuff, because at that time, like, ooh, I had in-ring pyro, which not many guys had. It's like, ooh. And I would say, like, how close can I get to it without being a problem, and this and that, and like, you have the resources of that giant company to help you with things. it just makes being a performer to me at a high level way easier.